Well, to reflect on the life and work of Neil Armstrong, we're joined by space flight analyst Dr. Maurice Jones. Maurice, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Let's look at Neil Armstrong. In that very rare interview he did a couple of months ago, spoke about the dangers, and he was very understated about the risks involved. But it was a highly risky venture, making it to the moon, wasn't it?
It was, because even though they did so many test flights, nobody really knew what would happen when they actually made the final approach and when they actually tried to land. And as Armstrong said, they had a computer error that they did not expect. We know that that was caused because they turned on two radar systems at once. But again, all that practice, and it still didn't prepare them for the final step. But Armstrong had a knack of getting out of situations like that.
That's right. I mean, now we mentioned also that in 1966, I think it was, when he was involved in a test procedure that didn't go to plan, his skills came to the fore there again, didn't they?
Armstrong almost had a supernatural talent for walking into dangerous situations, and somehow he would just walk out of them unscathed. Even before he became an astronaut, when he was a fighter pilot, he flew more than 50 missions in the Korean War. At one stage, half his wing was shot off, and he managed to get back home. So I think that sort of ability is really why NASA selected him for this important mission.
So it really was. He was very cool, very calculated, just the man you'd need in a crisis situation.
That's right, and I think a lot of people feel that without Neil Armstrong commanding that mission, other astronauts could have landed, but he was really the best choice, and sometimes I think that without him, they wouldn't have landed on that attempt. They would have got home safely, but probably they would have had to abort the landing and maybe try again. So I think Armstrong played such a critical role in making that landing succeed.
One of the interesting things I've found as well is that for Neil Armstrong, it was all about getting to the moon, and that was where his focus was on. And for everyone else, there's been obviously a lot of focus in terms of him taking those first steps on the moon, and whether or not he was the right person. And NASA was quite clear, weren't they, that they wanted him to be the one.
They were, and the whole thing is the public in general didn't really appreciate what was going on behind the scenes and just what sort of talents lay in this man that really weren't publicised until long after he returned to Earth, and people started saying, well, who is this man? And then we discovered a man with so much talent, so much coolness, and just a rare knack, even among the elite squad of test pilots.
What's his legacy, and particularly if we frame that in the current situation of where the space program is at the moment? And of course, I know he lamented the fact that perhaps it's gone off the rails.
Well, I think the legacy is the fact that the legacy is far greater than the present, because we have not been to the moon since 1972. I think that the landing on the moon was probably the greatest moment in NASA's history. Right now, NASA can't even launch astronauts into space. They don't even have a system for launching them.
Although they have made it to Mars very successfully, which has been impressive.
Probes, yes. that was a very close call.
Well, and on that note, they're saying perhaps the future is unmanned space flight.
I think the future is both crewed spaceflight, men and women, as well as robot space probes. So I think we'll see a mixture of both, and we can use both types of mission modes to their advantages. So I think humanity does have a bold future in space. We're going through a rough patch at the moment while we adjust to new circumstances, but the next wave is about to begin.
On that note, Dr. Maurice Jones, thank you so much for joining us this morning on Weekend Breakfast.